Thank you. Oh. I'm not used to applauses, man. Thank you. Thanks for the claps. Thanks for the claps. How's everybody doing? Good. That's what I mean. See, we in college right here, so people actually got energy. I usually do presentations, and my audience is a little older than y'all, so I usually say, how y'all doing? And everybody's like, And I'm like, come on, man. We about to talk about power and energy and food. Let's get some energy up in here. So I'm going to ask y'all again. Y'all did good, but I want y'all to put the next generation to shame, okay? How y'all doing today? Good. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so that energy that all of y'all use just to respond to me, you had to pull that energy from somewhere. And the energy that y'all use is ambient, meaning it's all around us. Electromagnetism exists everywhere, and we have this body that's able to siphon that ambient energy around us and use it for whatever we need. Though, because our systems ain't as strong as they once were, because we live in environments that are very toxic, you know, we have to find other sources of energy now in order to perpetuate our system. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to go through some basic points just so I can bring some awareness to you, make you go home and think a little bit, okay? So anybody ever heard this quote before? Yeah? Where it come from? The Bible, Genesis specifically, right? I find Genesis real interesting because like it was a garden. Everything was real simple. Wasn't a bunch of politics going on. So it's kind of like a state that everybody would love to be in, right? We work all our lives so we can get to the garden. We start in the garden, and then we come into the world, we do all this stuff, and then we want to go back to the garden. It's just real interesting that when you read Genesis, it tells you exactly what we're supposed to be eating. Now, I know y'all are eating all types of stuff in here. I already know that. But the reason why y'all eating all the food that y'all eating right now is because of tradition. It's what society is telling you to eat. It's what mama and daddy is making for you. And they only making that stuff for you because that's what was made for them. And no one has made the point of phenotype before. Does anybody know what phenotype is? Let me get a hand. There we go. What's that? Physical traits. Physical traits, phenotypes, genetics. Everybody in here, you got a whole color of a whole rainbow up in here. Each one of y'all have a different phenotype. Okay, you got Caucasoid phenotype, which represents Caucasian and European descent. You got Mongoloid phenotype that deals with Asian descent. And then you got Congoloid or Negroid phenotype, which deals with African descent. Each one of those have a different genetic disposition, which means that they live in different environments. And if you live in a different environment, you're not going to eat the same stuff. A tiger does not eat what a bear eats. A mouse don't eat what an eagle eat, okay? And a grasshopper does not eat what a bird eats. Everybody eats something different based on their environment. But when it comes to us, we think we can just put anything in our mouth until we get into our 40s and 50s and things start falling apart, okay? So the question is, why do we eat? What? Who said that over there? Because what? Okay, somebody said because I'm hungry. Who said because I'm hungry? There we go. I'm saying that's the answer to that. You could come up with all types of answers, but it's like, why we eat? Because I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? But why are you hungry? What are you looking for? So these are basic answers, you know, because we hungry. To get full, to survive. Don't want to think about food with all this other stuff. Y'all got all these projects and quotas and stuff y'all got to meet. Y'all don't got time to be, you trying to throw something down and go on to the next thing, you know? Don't want to look like me. Most guys don't want to be this size. You know what I mean? They trying to look like a football player, basketball player. They're trying to have some weight on them, you know. So then why choose certain foods over others? Say that again? Healthier, okay.
Different nutritional value.
Different nutritional value.
Your preference.
Say again?
Your preference.
I can't hear that.
Your preference.
Your preference, yes, your preference. Somebody in the center said something over here. Taste better, okay. Those are good answers, good answers. Taste and texture. When you eat a hamburger, it's the taste of the hamburger, it's the texture of the hamburger as you're chewing it, right? Family tradition, That's grandmama's casserole right there. Like, that's what we eat every Thanksgiving. Nutrition, you know, and then emotional state. Let's not forget about that now. You know, you just broke up with your girl, you just broke up with your boyfriend, whatever. You're knocking down some chocolates, you're eating some ice cream, you know what I mean? You got in trouble or something like that, you know, you're gonna eat certain things to feel better as well. These are all reasons why we pick certain things over others, okay? So, yes, definitely wanna be full rather than starve, okay? I have to look a certain way because of the standards of society. And then when you ask somebody about being a vegan or eating a plant-based diet, you know, wait, what, vegan? No, I can't accomplish none of that. I can't be none of those things at the top, eating no bunch of plants. Plus, in the Bible, it said I got dominion over all the animals, man, which means I can eat what I want to eat, okay? But see, that word dominion, we got to understand that the Bible wasn't in English, like when it was written. So, like, a lot of the stuff we read is based on words that were translated over. Okay, so dominion was the best translation, and we think dominion, we think domination, we think we're running something. We own something. We have ownership over a thing. But really, your parents have dominion over you. Does that mean that they can enslave you? Does that mean that they're a tyrant? No. Or some of y'all is like, well, might not been in my house before, but it's kind of close, you know? But it really means be responsible. That's what it really means. Be responsible for. So if we're responsible for the animals, remember, animals are alive. Now, I'm not no PETA advocate. You know, they go hard in the paint, you know, the people at PETA over the whole vegan thing. But it makes sense because you're thinking of an organism that is alive, has a spirit, you know, has the family, children, all this stuff. It just went out to go get some grass to come back home, and he never comes back. You know what I'm saying? He ends up in a Kroger or something like that, you know? It's bad. It's bad. And if you think about it in terms of us, if you walked out one day and didn't come back home and you end up on the back of a milk box, missing, you know, because there is organ trafficking. Okay, I'm going to tell everybody right here, do not say you're an organ donor on your license. Okay, because if you do and you get in an accident, they might not want to resuscitate you right away. Because you got that liver that guy needs. Okay, and there's also a black market of organs also where your organs cost the same amount of money as the most luxurious vehicles. We talking Bentleys, the best Benzes, $250,000 for your organs, kidneys and everything. That's because people understand the value of the system and the body, but we don't. All right? So why do we eat meat? Huh? Come on, y'all. Why we eat meat? There we go. Yeah. Protein, right? That's what everybody says, right? But the question is, okay, why do we drink milk and eat dairy?
Muscle mass.
Calcium, muscle mass, exactly. Protein and calcium. That's always the main thing, right? What if I told you that with milk it's the exact opposite? That milk actually leaches calcium and causes osteoporosis. Huh?
Drink your candle.
Say that again.
Drink your candle.
Now let me explain. Let's say your blood is acidic. You know the difference between an acid and a base, right? Yes. Okay, no, okay. Acid is 0 to 6.9, right? Neutral is 7, and 7.1 to 14 means that it's base or it's alkaline. Your blood is supposed to stay somewhere between neutral and 7.35. You're just over neutral with your blood. If it drops below 7 into an acidic state, your body goes into this mode where it's like, oh man, we have to get the alkalinity back. Because if your blood is acidic, everything will start breaking down. You'll start to die. So one of the quickest ways to get your blood to alkalize is to release calcium ions into the bloodstream, and that increases alkalinity. Now, what's the greatest source of calcium in your body? Your bones. Your bones. 2 cells, Osteoclast, osteoblast. Osteoclast breaks bone down. Osteoblast builds bone up. So when your blood is acidic, you start to initiate your osteoclast, and it starts to dissolve the bones of your body. And as you dissolve bones in your body, you release calcium ions in the bloodstream, the blood gets alkaline, you're good to go. But then you drink some more milk, and it gets acidic again. So then it leaches more. And you drink more, and you eat cheese, and it releases more. And you eat yogurt, and it releases more. And every time you eat some type of milk byproduct or eat something acidic, you start leaching the bones in your body. Okay? Now, what is protein? Because that's always the answer to meat. Can I get somebody to tell me what? Because I don't know what it is. Anybody know what protein is?
Healthy fat.
Wait, is that?
Healthy fat.
Healthy fats. Okay. I said, tell me what green looks like, and he's telling me about orange. I said, tell me what protein is. How is protein a healthy fat? Fat is its own thing. Sugar is its own thing. We talking about protein. Somebody, come on now. That's the answer to why everybody's eating all the meat. Somebody got to know what protein is.
So you want to be weak?
Huh?
So you don't be weak?
Wheat? Weak? Oh, so you don't be weak.
So you won't be.
So you won't be weak. No, I want to know what it is. It's like, okay, yeah, it's the answer to all that stuff. But it's like
A group of amino acids.
a group of amino acids. Somebody suck their teeth like, psh, you act like you know something. But technically that's what it is. That's actually what it is. When you put a bunch of amino acids together, you get a protein, but still, even when you say that, it's like, what does that even mean to me right now? Like, how does that help me out? Okay? So when you're dealing with protein, you got like genetic, you got structural, and you got globular. When you think of genetic, you're talking about your DNA, okay, your heredity, all that stuff is a protein, quote unquote. Collagen, that structure, gives me my body and me being able to stand up. Okay, that's the collagen. And then globular, which would be hemoglobin, albumin, which helps to transport things in your bloodstream. These are all forms of protein. But the funny thing about all these proteins is, do you know how you get them in the animals? It's because the animals eat the plants. See, plants take amino acids and convert them into proteins, and then carnivores eat the herbivores that eat the plants that have done the conversion. So what you're doing is you're actually eating a third-hand source for the protein, as opposed to getting it directly. Now, who would like a brand new luxury car in here? Okay, I'm gonna go over there. Y'all raise your hands quick. Y'all sleeping. Y'all want no new car? What type of car you want? A Porsche. Okay, now let's say that the Porsche had, would you like a brand new Porsche, or would you like a Porsche that been handed off to 3-4 other people over the past 30 years? Brand new one, right? So when you putting stuff in your body, which is your Porsche, your Benz, your Bentley, right? You want to get the best stuff possible inside your system. But when you're trying to get protein from meat, you're eating the third hand of it, as opposed to going directly to the plant. You're eating somebody that ate the plant. And by the time you get it, the value has dropped exponentially. Just like if you try to take that cart off the lot and then sell it back, you're not going to get that same money no more the minute it drives off that lot. It's used. It loses its value. Man, vegans ain't healthy. They die, cancer, heart diseases. I seen big vegans, and some just don't look healthy at all, right? I'm supposed to give up my chicken wings, all the hog maws, all my chitlins. I like pig feet. Ew. See, I was taught, I know, like, ugh, pig feet. People eat pig feet. What do you think y'all eat when y'all eat a hot dog? Hot dogs is every leftover part from the animal that don't get put up on the shelf, like eyelids and scrotum sacs. Y'all don't want no scrotum sandwich up in here, man? Y'all ever notice the term baloney in our society means like it's not a good thing? Like, man, that's baloney right there. Like, it's not a good thing. Oh, man, that's baloney. Like, no, it's not a positive thing. Why are you eating it? You know? If I called you a chicken, is that a term of endearment? Not at all, right? If I called you a turkey, because in the 70s, you a jive turkey, that was not a good term. So all these things we eat just got bad. Like, nobody says, man, I'm cooking eagle tonight. I'm just saying, that's a strong bird. Like, if you're going to go after meat, like, go after something you want to be, right? Yeah, so I took that from Friday. That's the line from Friday Pops was talking about. I want my hog maws, you know. All right. Now, a lot of people say, when you talk about plant-based diets, they say, my grandma ate pig every day and lived to be 140. She ate all that garbage, all them years, and she lived till she was 140. So what are you talking about? I got to eat a plant-based diet to be more healthier. My grandmama ate all the, and she smoked. And she good. How you gonna argue with somebody's grandmama? I'm like, first of all, you brought your grandmama into this. I can't even argue with you, because then you're gonna think I'm talking about your grandma. So you just gotta like give it to them. But there's a reason for that. But this is usually one of the main excuses. Now, there's an article, sorry vegetarians, a new study says eating greens won't lower your risk of early death. Now, you look at this list right here, you got all the top leading causes for death in the country: heart disease, cancer, chronic lower respiratory diseases, accidents, unintentional injuries, you know, car accidents, strokes, Alzheimer's, diabetes, influenza. All these things are reason why people die. And the previous was an article talking about that even though you're eating a plant-based diet, your health is no better than people that eat meat, according to the studies. Okay? And I would have to say it's true. It's actually true. They did the studies and there was no difference. So people who on a plant-based diet, like, wait a minute. I'm eating the stuff that's alive. They're eating the stuff that's dead. Why are our studies coming out differently? You know? It made me scratch my head too. Like, I thought I knew what I was talking about. But the first controlled studies weren't published until the early 2000s. The results showed not only was the mortality rate the same as meat eaters, but vegans actually had a 30% greater risk of heart disease and stroke. Wait a minute, what? Huh? What's going on here? Okay, this is the older paper right here, the first one that was done, that was released in the 2000s. All right? And then that's the second one that actually, after they did that one, they did another 20-year study that they just released last year, or at the top of this year, okay? And both of these are talking about that. So it comes down to it's always East Coast, West Coast beef, man. Like, why does that always happen in society? The cholesterol levels were the same between the West and the Mediterranean, though lesser risk for heart diseases. I know you're like, what are you talking about? Well, they did a study where they looked at people from America and then they looked at people overseas, and what they did is they did a comparative analysis of heart disease, right? They found out that we both were taking in the same quantities of cholesterol, except their heart disease level was a lot lower. And they was like, what is that about? They like, okay, we eating the same stuff, right? So with a closer eye, what they found out was the oils or the fats that they were eating in the Mediterranean or in the Eastern Hemisphere was a lot different than the oils and fats we were eating over here, okay? And the fats that they were eating over there are called omega-3s, where predominantly over here we're eating omega-6s. Okay, has anybody heard of omega-3 fatty acids or omega-6 fatty acids? We got a couple people over there. Okay, so just to give y'all a quick rundown, we got skin on our body. Our body's made out of cells. All of our cells have a skin around them too, okay, called the plasma membrane. That plasma membrane has lipid inside of it because oil separates water. Oil and water don't mix. So we use oils and fats to separate the waters in our body. If you look at the beginning of the Bible, they say separating the waters from the waters and the firmament and all that. You can apply that to the body, and oil does that, okay? However, if you have a great amount of omega-6s in that compose that oil, you're going to create way more inflammation, way more risk for heart disease, as opposed to omega-3s being in there. See, they weren't aware of that, and the people in the Mediterranean had a greater ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s, so their heart disease level was a lot lower. All right? So we're talking about fatty acids where you got saturated, you got monounsaturated, and then PUFA means polyunsaturated fatty acids, okay? And these are like the different sources. Now, what would happen was vegans, people who want a plant-based diet, usually when they give up meat, the first thing they start doing is they become a starchitarian. And what that means is they eat a lot of starch. They start eating a lot of rice and a lot of potatoes and a lot of French fries and a lot of potato chips because they're on the run. If you go outside right now, there's just not a lot of fast food chains that appeal to a vegan or a plant-based diet. So they're getting McDonald's French fries or Wendy French fries and all types of stuff from these places, but they're using the oils that are under omega-6. The vegans start getting large amounts of omega-6 oils inside their body, which raises the ratio of the omega-6 to omega-3, where it becomes worse than people that actually still eat meat. So it's not that the vegan diet is not good. It's just that when people become vegan or they decide to go a plant-based direction, they don't think that they have to have a balanced meal. We think, oh, we could just eat an orange and have a salad during the day and we getting that solar energy and we good. But no, you got to balance it all. You got to make sure you're getting all your components in, and that comes, you know, with the proper education. Is there anybody in here who is vegan?
Maya.
Hey, Maya, huh? That's it? That's all we got? She was almost scared to raise her hand, man. You all like, oh, that vegan.
I'm vegetarian.
Okay, vegetarian, vegan. Okay, so we got two. We got two in here. We'll get three. Okay, and the teacher. All right. So these are the different types of fatty acids. That's the polyunsaturated fatty acids. These are sources for the omega-3s right here that you can find, and then these are where you find a lot of omega-6s. This greatly outweighs that in the American diet, and that's why we have so many heart issues and heart problems. Okay? So the ratio for the meat eaters is 7-to-1. The ratio should be 4-to-1, omega-6 to omega-3. Currently with the meat eaters is 7-to-1. With the vegans it's 10-to-1. And the 44-to-1 is actually the children. Because think about it. If you're a vegan and you have a child, what are you giving your child all the time? You're giving them stuff they can like eat real quick. You're giving them chips, you're giving them fries. They're getting more of the oil than anybody, you know? So yeah, meat, veggie, vegan, and then vegan children. The 10-to-1 is actually vegetarian because vegetarians still eat like dairy, you know, fish, things like that. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. All right, so when you look at these points, it looks like eating meat is the way to go, right? Like it ain't no big deal. All right, so anybody knows what, matter of fact, what's my time looking like right now? I'm good, okay. We're in the Milky Way galaxy, right? No, we're not, are we? Yes? Do y'all know what galaxy means? Stars. A collection of stars. What if I tell you galaxy means milk? I know, right? It's called the Milky Way. You ever thought why they called it the Milky Way? Galaxy? Because of, what's the name of the sugar in milk? What are we intolerant of? Okay. So, put a GA in front of that, you got a sugar called galactose. Yeah, that's where the word galaxy comes from. That's what it is. We're in a sugar galaxy. All right? So right here I say, welcome to the Milky Way galaxy, okay, full of cowards, bullish, and heifers. These are all cow-related terms. We live in a society that really loves the cow a whole lot. If you want to make money and you get into stock, they call it a bull market. If you make a lot of money, they call it a cash cow. And if you look at the 10 Commandments, Moses talked about not praising the golden calf. Yet that's exactly what our society does. There's nothing more powerful than a cow. You know, and I got to be real careful, man. I'm in Texas. I don't need to be talking about no cows down here. For real, we might have some agents up in the audience peeping me right now. So you got meat, dairy, you got food chemicals, which makes like glue, you know. When you take your flu shots, do you know what the concoction of that stuff is they shoot into your veins? Green monkey blood? Huh? Yes, green monkey blood, bovine serum, mercury. Look it up. I want y'all to look, I want y'all to do, this is y'all homework. I want y'all to look up the different inoculations or vaccinations that are required, right? You'll see the names. And then Google up what they are composed of. And when you find out the stuff that gets shot up into your body, you're going to lose your mind. You're going to be like, why are you putting old pig juice in my body to get rid of a flu? You'll be surprised what you find. Even in construction, you got bulldozer, you know? So you got all these cow and these bull terms, right? Now, to make milk, female cows are bound to something called a rape rack. Did y'all know that? A rape rack. So they tie them to the rape rack. They bring a male cow over, and they inseminate her by force. Last time I checked, that was called rape. When she says no, it means nobody. Okay? But obviously, they don't understand that on the dairy farm. Okay, so they inseminate her, and the minute they inseminate her, right, she's going to start producing milk. Like any woman who's gestating a child, their breasts are going to start to grow because they're going to start lactating. They're going to start producing milk in their breasts. So the cow starts producing milk in their udder. So immediately they remove the child from the mother. Okay, if it's a boy, you know, calf that comes out, he gets sold off and chopped up and becomes veal. Anybody eat veal in here? Yeah, those are little baby boys that get taken from their mother and chopped up. Why do I care, right? I'm human. I got dominion. It doesn't matter. So then if it's a girl, they get snatched away and they get pumped up with a bunch of hormones so that their breasts can get engorged. Their udders can get engorged and they can repeat the cycle. And it would be similar to me going into elementary school and pulling a girl who's about, 6, 7 years old, hit her with a couple shots. She starts growing a booty, some thighs and breasts, and then I take her and put her on a stripping pole or something and start making some money. It's about the same. Because you're taking a little girl, you're hitting her with these hormones, you're making her develop quicker than she normally will, and you're siphoning all of her energy out of her body. So what? So I can eat a pizza. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's worth it. A slice of pizza is definitely worth that cow. Of course. So when you don't know nothing about this stuff because nobody tells you about this stuff. The only thing you know is you got work to do, you got things to accomplish in your life, and you got to get something to eat. And you were told this is okay, that is okay, so you do it. So I'm not here trying to make any of y'all feel guilty about your actions because most of your actions are based on tradition and what was handed down to you. It's not your fault. But see, ignorance is bliss. The root word of ignorance is ignore. Because you can only be ignorant when you actually are ignoring a thing, meaning you know, but you decide not to do nothing about it. If you don't know about it, how are you going to do anything about it? You see? So every cup of milk that you see is the byproduct of this process occurring. Now, in addition to that, the USDA allows 22 million pus cells per ounce of milk. Per ounce. Per ounce. So if you're drinking a nice tall glass of chocolate milk and you just add some cream to your coffee, every ounce of that milk got 22 pus cells. Now I don't know about you, but the last time I seen pus, my thought was not to put it in my mouth. Do y'all want to eat some, y'all want some pus soup or? No, you don't want to put a little pus on top of you? Are you sure? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not just going to assume y'all don't like pus like I don't like it, you know. But this is the FDA. This is the FDA. These are the same organizations that are supposed to be in place to keep you healthy and keep you safe, but they allow, we ain't even going to talk about how many rat hairs they allow. In what? She said in what? In everything. No. In the meat. Because you got rats and stuff at these factories and they, you know, they making babies, man. They getting it in, they eating stuff, they shedding, they're using the bathroom, and in these big factories, they can't keep all this stuff clean like that. So the FDA allows a certain amount. And I just did the pus cells, you know. So yeah, the U.S. is 22 millions per ounce. So if you're thinking an 8-ounce glass, a 16-ounce glass, how much pus is that? If these cows have, if they have tumors, if they have cancer, if they have any issue, they do not remove that cow or remove that pig and not chop it. They chop that bad boy up like everybody else. And this is the stuff that we're eating. How are you going to allow your body to properly function if you're feeding it the same things that cause it to die? That's the question you got to ask yourself. All right, so just to make 1/4 pounder at Mickey D's, okay, you need just under 7 pounds of grain, which is going to be GMO. Okay, you need almost 53 gallons of water, and you need about 75 square feet of land just to make one little burger. McDonald's says billions and billions sold. That's just McDonald's. What about Wendy's? What about Hardee's? What about everybody else? So when we start thinking about eating meat, we don't think about the ramifications of the planet. And the fact that, okay, I like burgers, but this whole school likes burgers, and all schools in Texas like burgers, and all schools in the United States like burgers, and all schools in North America, and then you go out growing and you like, man, where are all these cows at? That's if you're eating a real cow, because they're cloning. Oh yeah, they clone cows. Oh yeah. And then on top of that, you might not even be eating, you might eat secondhand beef, meaning in Japan, what they do is they're recycling the sewage. So now, you know, when you defecate everything you ate. It's still protein. It's just you don't want it no more, so it goes in the toilet. Well, guess what? They're collecting excrement in a lab, and they're converting it back into protein mass and then selling that as meat.
So you eat
Boo-boo burgers. Come on, I know y'all want a boo-boo burger with a side of pus milk. Come on now.
You gotta go.
No?
Just throw.
Come on, man.
Let's start over.
No boo-boo burger with pus milk. You telling me y'all don't want that? Now y'all have all the power in the world to prove me wrong. When y'all leave here today, Google and look it up. Y'all gonna be surprised. I want everybody to go home and watch a movie called What the Health. I believe it's still on Netflix. You know, check it out. They do a good job breaking a lot of this information down. All right, so you got antibiotics, you got clone, you got the living conditions, and then slaughter. Let me give you all this example. Everything you eat has an energy profile to it, okay? When you look at a girl, you could tell the girl is in a good mood. She's smiling, she's happy, she's glowing. You know, you can approach and say, hey, how you doing, okay? Now, if she's having a bad day and she's looking a little funky in her face and all that and standoffish, you know, okay, maybe I don't want to push up on her right now. I'm going to give her some time. So y'all understand energy and body language, right? So when you eat all this meat, the meat has muscle memory, meaning the muscle contains the energy of the being before it died, because it gets kind of trapped inside the cellular structure, okay? So just think about a slaughterhouse, okay? Imagine the slaughterhouse doors in the back of the room right there, right? And there's a long line of cows, and I'm right here. And I hear the squealing, the screaming, the blood splattering on the wall, the machines, the whirring of the blades, and I'm next up. Oh, okay. okay. They're telling me that I'm about to like be free and go out on the graze out on the grass. They say I'm about to play, but it don't sound like they playing. That don't sound like the promised land over there, boy. This line is going kind of quick, man. I'm sweating bullets. You know what I mean? I'm poking around, and you hear people mooing up there and screams. By the time it's my goal, I done spilled so much epinephrine, adrenaline, toxic energies, and chemicals into my blood that by the time I'm mutilated and turn into a steak or ground chuck or whatever it is, all that acid, all that thought, all that death, all that fear is embedded in the flesh now. And that's why we're in a fear-based society. You turn on the TV, you look at the news. Hey, we're here live, here to scare all of you this morning. And we want y'all to think about fear all day long till you go to sleep. And that's all you see all day long. This person got shot. This person got kidnapped. They was ran over by this. This was blown up. Don't go here because this stuff is happening. It's like you don't want to do anything. And that fear is in the food. And we eat it and it just flows throughout our whole body. Okay? So the U.S. is second only to a country named Luxembourg in annual meat consumption, which is 300 pounds per person annually. We're eating almost twice our weight in meat every year. And we're second only to Luxembourg. I'm like, that's ironic their name is Burger, right? Like, yeah, y'all should be the #1 with burger in your name. All right, and there's a lot of countries, so that says a lot. My thing is China got 1 billion people. How there's 1 billion people in China, but we still beat China? That means we're eating a lot of meat. Okay? Now, another thing I hear, because I talk about phenotype, and Dr. Sebi's main thing was when everybody came to this country, they got to bring their food. You got Chinese restaurants, right? You got Italian restaurants, right? But you don't really see any indigenous restaurants, any African restaurants around. You don't see, like we go by soul food, but the problem with soul food is the fact that soul food is the byproduct of slavery. It's like scraps. It was scraps that were tossed, and it was like, we gotta eat, so I'm gonna make the best of it that I can. So that's where pig feet, pig ears, and pig nose, and all that stuff come from, because it was all the leftover parts. And we have the audacity to call it soul food, when it's everything but that. It's actually the destroyer soul food, because it ain't promoting any type of soul or solar energy inside. So Sebi always talked about food gene consistency, meaning the food you eat should be specific and connected to your genetic structure. I mean, whatever genetics you have, your food should relate to that. And a lot of people here in America don't know what their genetic food connection is. So when you go back to Africa and you look at Africa, you know, you see a lot of people eating meat. You see a lot of people drinking blood as well. So most people make the point, well, you go to Africa, they ain't vegans over there. They eating all types of stuff over there. And I'm like, that is true. But I said Africa is also colonized. Africa has not been in control of itself for a long time. People are raping the earth, taking the diamond. Y'all seen the movie Blood Diamond? Y'all see all the films. Y'all know what's going on in Africa right now. They say Africa got AIDS. I didn't know a continent could have AIDS. I'm like, wow, that's deep right there. So you look at a society that's no longer in control of their people or the environment, that they actually have colonialists or military that are imparting force on the people. Of course they're going to make them eat things that's not consistent with their body, because if the person's strong and can have enough sense to do anything about themselves, that's going to be a problem. So feed them things that's going to do the exact opposite. The same thing with the people that are in this room, y'all, the future. Why give y'all everything that you need in order to be the best you can? Because if you become the best, then you might see problems with society. And because you're the youth, you can do something about it. You see? So I want to lull you to sleep. I want you to get itis after you eat your Thanksgiving meal and pass out. You know what I'm saying? I want you to have health problems so that you stay on medication and get pills. Because I can't make money if you're healed. I can only make money if I get a royalty check from the fact you got to keep coming back to my office. Over and over again. You ever wonder why they call you a patient and why the doctor's office is called a practice? Because you got to be patient while they practice on you. Y'all didn't know that, did you? You got to be patient with them as they continue to practice on you. All right? Yes.
You said like the food that we eat, right? Like, you know, like leftover, like hot dogs, to like pig feet and piggy and stuff. Like packages, they ever say that stuff? Like,
No, you could read it. It's just going to say 100% something, but it ain't going to say, you got to look it up on Google. You got to look, okay, how are hot dogs made? Look that up. Look at how chicken nuggets are made. That will blow your mind. That'll blow your mind. So when you look at Africa, you see that these people are not eating. It's all good. I know how it go. The people are not eating the foods that they once ate. They're eating another diet right now. So I like to prove certain things. You know what I mean? So I did the research to find out what were Africans eating prior to them being colonized, prior to people occupying their domain. Okay? So as I said earlier, grandma lived to 140, right? Eating pork, smoking a cigarette. She outlived everybody, you know? But that's because grandma and grandpa drunk your juice. And I'm like, what? My juice? What are you talking about? Yes, great grandma lived to 120 on ribs, but your grandma lived to 90, your mom lived to 75, and you till 60. Your grandma drank your juice, meaning our genetics have all types of feedback mechanisms to keep us going, all right? If you do not eat the right food, you'll break your body down, but your body's gonna do everything it needs to survive. But then when you have a child and that child comes out, now that child has the discrepancies that you made in the genetics in them. So now when they follow great grandma's diet, they won't live to 140 no more because they got problems based on what great grandma did. And then when grandma has a baby, the same thing happens. And then so forth and so on. And that's why you got kids with diabetes. Kids with diabetes, kids with cancer. Huh? What sense does that make? And the only reason why this is happening is because of the type of genetics that are getting passed down and the type of drugs that are being fed to the children in the disguise of food. Okay? Just because they call it food don't mean it's food. We are drug addicts in our society. And we're addicted to sugar, fat, and a couple other things. All right? So, if you want to know where Western medicine really got their start at, watch the movie A Cure for Wellness. Anybody watch that movie? Huh? It was gross, wasn't it? Anybody seen it? Anybody else? Watch that movie, y'all. A Cure for Wellness. It's in Redbox right now, I think. And look up this book, Mummies, Cannibals, and Vampires. This is not a fictitious book. It is not science fiction. It is a reference guide. And the medical industry got its start in corpse medicine, meaning eating dead bodies, eating dead bodies, eating human flesh. Okay? Vampires, cannibalism. Y'all could look that book up for you, so I don't even got to go in detail in it. But the whole concept of Western medicine has been so flawed for so many years. Y'all know it, you know? You got cancer association, diabetes, heart association, all these associations that you think are there to help the problem. They're not. They're actually there to perpetuate it. Because if it's called the Cancer Society, nowhere in that title does it say that they're anti-cancer. Anti-cancer. They say we're the Cancer Society, or we're the Diabetes Association. That doesn't mean that I want to get rid of diabetes. That just means we're association for diabetes. So you got to think about those things. Everybody does not have you in their best interest, so you have to take everything with a grain of salt, do the further research, the further studying, so you can make the decisions for yourself. Because if you allow anybody to decide for you, you're just sheeple. You're going to be this guy. that's next in line. Oh man, am I next? Am I going to the promised land? And then when you get up there, you're going to get chopped up and put in a package. And we don't want that to happen, okay? So the meat industry exists as a cover-up for cannibalism and a perpetuation of the demonic forces that influence the human condition. I know when y'all look at the news and you look at society, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on. This bad stuff happens because of influence, because the human is not designed, like you don't come out as a baby wanting to kill another baby. Even when you get older and you get hungry, like bruh, when you get hungry and you're walking down the street and you see a squirrel, have you ever said to yourself, yo, I'm about to knock that squirrel upside the head. I'm gonna take this boy home? Never, right? When you see a bunch of vultures eating a carcass in the middle of the road, are you like, can I get in on that? Whoa, can I get a peep? Never, right? So inherently, you have no desire to eat the stuff, kill the thing, or nothing like that. But, hey, if you smell a pineapple, you like, yo, can I get some of the... Right. You've never smelled rotting meat and said, oh my God, whoa, that smells wonderful. Matter of fact, you need plants in order to make all the meat you eat palatable. What do you think spices are? Those are plants. Potatoes, tomatoes, onions, all that stuff you use in order to give it funk and give it flavor. So just cut out the middleman. Just move it out the way. All right. So what's my time? 10? Okay, well let me move forward. Okay, so we're gonna get a little quantum biology as I get ready to wrap this stuff up. Okay, so you can understand how powerful you are. How many states of matter are there? Huh? I hear 3 and 4. Let me get a hand for the 3 and a hand for the 4. 3, and who says 4? You say 4? You say 4? Okay, so what's the 3?
Oh, I said 4.
You said 4. Who say 3? Behind, what's the 3?
Liquid, solid, and gas.
What's the 4?
Liquid, solid, glass, and plasma.
Plasma, there we go. Yes, yes, yes. Plasma is the 4th stage. Water is very important because water couples right with the different states. Okay? Now, normally you would think there's only 3 states to water, would it be in liquid, solid, gas? But there's also a supercooled or an easy state to water. Easy meaning exclusion zone. Okay? Exclusion zone. All right? So if I had a cup of water, if I had a cup and I poured water in that cup, the water that sits next to the surface of the glass, all right, can form an exclusion zone. Okay? Let me tell you what I mean by that. Water is H2O, right? The H, the hydrogens have a positive charge, the oxygen has a negative charge. So the water has a plus and a minus charge on it, okay? When the water that sits next to the surface of the glass will push all of the protons into the center, and there will be predominantly electrons by the surface of the glass. And a way to test this out is if you ever put anything in the freezer and it freezes and you pull it out to thaw, the edges always thaw out first and it's always frozen in the center because protons represent cold, electrons represent heat. So the electrons are around while the protons are in the center. Well, this applies to your body because you are 90-something% water. Everything in your body is covered in water, which means the same process that occurs in this cup can occur in your body. Now, how do I make this exclusion zone or the area with the electron? I add infrared energy or infrared light, which comes from the sun. So when we stand in the sun, when infrared energy hits the waters of our body, we create an enormous exclusion zone, which is a pool of electrons. And anytime you can conduct an electron, what is that called? Say it loud. Electricity. Conduction. Our body is electric. Okay? This is how our body runs, off of electricity. And the only thing that we need in order for our body to run, honestly, is sunlight, water, and magnetism. When we get sunlight and sunlight hits our water, we get all the energy we need. The foods we eat are mainly for the minerals to make a lot of processes more efficient. but it's the water that is our battery. Now, y'all ain't gonna hear this nowhere. This was gonna be, I was gonna get into some real funky stuff right there. But we're gonna go, oh yeah, some good stuff. This is its own class. All right. The SN, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Now, if you're gonna walk away with anything today, this is what you're gonna walk away with. All right? The pupil in your eye is black. I don't care what color you are or what color your eyes are, everybody got a black pupil. And the reason why your pupil is black is because it is called a black box radiator. It is a perfect black box body radiator where no light can escape. Meaning when we're outside and the sun's out and you see light everywhere, that light enters into your eye, okay? Through the lens, hits the back of the eye where the retina is. We got rods and cones. Cones are for color, rods is for black and white. All right? The rod, and it's similar to your printer, okay? You got black and white cartridge, you got color. And that's how you're able to print everything, right? It's the same thing inside your eyes. Now, from the eyes, those are the photoreceptor cells. It ends up hitting a part of the pituitary gland where your leptin receptor is. And based on the sunlight that's coming in and the light that is processed through this channel, your body knows what time it is, okay? This suprachiasmatic nucleus is your biological clock. If you go to the doctor and y'all get checkups, there are 2 ages that you have in your file that you might not be aware of that the doctor knows, and he'll tell you if you ask him. You got your age, which is, how old are you? 17. All right? But then based on how she's been living her life and what food she's been eating, you might be 46. With your biological age. Because the inside of your body can age at a different rate from the exterior. Or rather just how many times you've gone around the sun, your birthday. So a lot of people are 25 years old, but they're really 70 inside. Okay? So you got this biological clock that constantly ticks. This is how you can program your phone to get up at 7 o'clock, but you'll get up at 6:45 on your own. Because you have your own clock. Now, if you got your own clock, just like here, class starts at what time? 9:30, right? If y'all didn't know class started at 9:30, how would you know to be here on time, right? If he didn't know, how would he know to get here on time and teach y'all every day? So the time is very necessary in the body to know what hormones, what enzymes, what chemicals need to be produced. And the way your body knows what time it is by the light that enters the eye and hits the SN. So what happens when I get on my phone and I'm on Instagram and it's 1:30 in the morning and the screen of my phone has the same intensity as the sun at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? I just told my body that it's 2 p.m. So now my body says time to produce 2 p.m. hormones. So then I wonder why I can't go to sleep. Because you just told your body it's the middle of the day. But I'm not just looking at Instagram one time. Now I know as much as I'm on the phone, I can only imagine how many times y'all hitting YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. All of these particular social medias, along with the phone, produce an artificial blue light frequency. And this blue light frequency overstimulates the retina as well as the SN and throws your whole circadian rhythm, which is the rhythm of light and day, way off, where you're putting yourself in a state of jet lag 10, 20 times a day. So you got the food, and then you also got the false light that is doing damage on our systems. And like I said, y'all don't have to believe me. Y'all can go home and y'all can prove me wrong, all right? So this was a study that I found in regards to Kemet. Y'all know it as ancient Egypt. They did the studies on it on their teeth, and they come to find out that they ate predominantly C3 plants, okay? They were predominantly plant-based eaters, okay? These were the mummies, all right? And then this is what my presentation was when I presented to the brother not too long ago. It's called a vegan gene. It's really more like a 3-hour presentation. I go in great detail. This was like kind of a summary. But here it shows that when you get on a plant-based diet, you have an ancient part of your gene that gets activated called R666989663. And what this part of your DNA does, it allows you to convert ALA, which is an omega-3, into DHA, which is the dominant omega-3 you need in order to evolve your brain. All our brains and our bodies evolve. You know how you see X-Men and you see them with mutant abilities? Our evolution is based upon how much DHA we get inside our body and our diet, which we hardly get any of it in, okay? And as a plant-based eater, it's hard to find omega-3s, you know, and then it's hard to produce DHA inside our body from the omega-3 diet we eat unless this gene is activated. So this was actually the purpose of the presentation that I had made previously. But for those that are plant-based, that are vegan, this is something for y'all to look, for all of y'all to look up, because we got so many genes that are dormant inside our body that are not awake, that we can wake up based upon environmental stimulus and the foods that we eat. So I implore all of y'all to start going out and doing the research on some of these points that I made, because, you know, y'all are the future, and just because you're 17 don't mean you ain't going on 80. But you can switch that up, you know what I mean? So I know we probably only got a few more. I was gonna see if there was any questions. Yeah, that's the wrap up. So if there's any Q&A. Yep.
When it activated, what happens to your body?
Just ask that one more time.
When the R6698 is activated,
what is it?
What happens to your body?
Okay, so she asked, when the RS666989663 is activated, what happens in your body? Well, you have one pathway that allows you to elongate fatty acids into what you would see a long chain omega-6 or a long chain omega-3. It has one pathway. That's almost like if 20 people were going to the same job and there's only one road for them to go down to get to work, there's going to be a lot of traffic. If you eat a lot of omega-6s is going to take that pathway every single time. That's why you increase the omega-3s so that they can get down that pathway and you can make the DHA. What that gene does is it allows you to start converting ALA to DHA way more efficiently, because right now we don't, and our DHA levels are low. That's why you haven't really seen any leaps in the human condition and the human mind. Like, we're not really doing anything. We see technology taking off, but where's our minds at? And that's one of the reasons, because our DHA is so low. Yes?
On food packages, are they going to tell you, no, this is omega-3 or 6?
Sometimes they are, but you can do that yourself. You can look in your cabinet, in your pantry, see the type of foods you have in there, and just look up omega-3, omega-6 content. You want to look for the ratio. The ratio should be 4-to-1. With omega-6 is 4, omega-3 1. That's the ratio that you look for. All right, and you can get a test on your blood cells to see what your ratio is, to see how low your omega-3 count, so that you can start taking more omega-3s and increase it, and then you can take the test again and see how much you progressed. Anybody else? Yes? How do you clone? That's a whole nother class. But you know, you pull the genetics out. The minute that you have genetics and the right incubation like environment, you can grow. Like they're cloning humans right now too. Like they're doing all of that. They're cloning humans, one, and they also have human androids right now too, where they're getting better at, you know, robotic people. It's getting there. It's getting there. Anybody else?
One more question.
One more question. Yes?
Would you advise someone to take omega-3?
Hello, everybody listen.
Say that one more time.
Advise someone to take omega-3 pills?
Omega-3 pills, no. I really don't advocate anybody taking like an isolated vitamin, mineral thing like that, because when you start taking things like that, you turn off the natural way to make it in your body. So if you're taking like an omega-3 capsule, then that will really suppress, that whole pathway I was talking about, like with melatonin, all those things that you see when you see the label and it's that, and you take it, you're telling your body, I don't need you to make it for me no more. So it don't. So it lets you just take it in, but it's a synthetic version and your body might not be able to assimilate it efficiently. Okay?
Everything now from everything that was discussed in class. So if you paid attention, then you have a good chance to get the shot of the money. Okay? All right. Let's get started. KT's mother, Annette Thomas and Dr. CB established what institute? What was the name of it? I said that at the beginning of the class. Paid attention, y'all talked about the Usha Herbal Research Institute at the beginning of the class. Okay, this is in the lead. HSN. HSN is in the lead. We have 3 more questions. What is protein? Okay, so we have everybody except for one person who was actually paying attention.
Not one.
So Sammy's in first place.
Come on, B.
Fatty acids are.
It's all of them.
It is all. Take the press off. All 4 are fatty acids. And if you paid attention, you know what that answer was. All right, this is in the lead. Hail Mayo.
Hail Mayo.
U.S. second owner to the country blank and annual meat.
Hail Mayo. Uh-oh.
Everybody listen. All right, we're approaching the end of this. In addition to the money, the winner is going to receive a product from KT off of his company, Green Life, and he's going to tell you what that is. So he doesn't have it with me. What he's going to do is he's going to give it to me, and I'm going to bring it to class on Tuesday for whoever the winner is.
Yeah, I'll bring it next Tuesday. It's going to be my Conjur's Crispus concentrate. It's called C3. It's a concentrated tea, and it's probably the most simple thing y'all can take with y'all busy lives, and y'all will notice, how it will make you feel, just in the first 3 days. So I'm going to bring that in and give it to the teacher so he could give it out to whoever the winner is. So not only get some cash, but you'll get to see, one of the products that I do.
Okay. Light reacts to the black box radiator, which responds to the biological clock, which is the
Not the colon. You should have put supercalifragilistic. Oh goodness. Hail Mayo. Hail Mayo. You got it.
We're in class right now. What I want to do is is get a group picture with KT if y'all don't mind. I'm gonna ask you to stand right up under the